Welcome to the Developer Spotlight on the Full Dive Gaming Podcast. In the Developer Spotlight, we sit down with VR industry professionals. This week, I'm sitting here with Dan Saban, the CEO of Ayayu Games. Dan, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Delighted to be here.
Yeah, we're happy to have you on. And while we're saying thank you, we got to thank our sponsor real quick, Asterion Products. You know them if you've been listening to this podcast a while. They make different VR headset accessories, stands, mats, and all kinds of stuff. If you use code FULLDIVE10 on Amazon, you're going to save an extra 10%. Well, Dan, I appreciate you being here. For people who haven't heard of Ayayu Games, do you want to kind of tell us who Ayayu is, what your games are, and how did you get here?
Well, Ayayu Games, we're an Israeli company located near Tel Aviv, about 15 minutes from Tel Aviv. We established the company at the end of 2018. We started around a concept called VR Man, which will come eventually, but we started with it, and it's like a physical toy that you kind of comes to life inside virtual reality. It was too early for the time. We did it for the HTC Vive, and we started to sell it around the world for VR arcades worldwide, like LBE's virtual reality. Since then, COVID came. And turned everything upside down. So eventually we took the VR Man concept, like the virtual reality mechanics and concept, and we developed Shuttle Maze, which is the current game that we're working really hard on. So now it's available on App Lab. It will be available soon on Pico. It's a very special game. There's a lot of angles that we can approach the game and why we're here to discuss it. But basically that's Ayayu Games. That's how we started, and that's how we got here.
I love it. We get to meet so many people in the VR space, and everybody has a different story. But for people out there who have never heard of Shuttle Maze, how do you describe this game to them? What do you tell them it is?
Yeah, so that's like the $1 million question, because we don't have $1 million. I like to describe it as the evolution of like classic platformer, like 2D platformer games, like Celeste, if you know it, like Super Meat Boy, Sonic, these kinds of old games. That's the inspiration that we come from, right? So we took this concept along with, if you know, it's an old game called Descent, where you have a spaceship, and it's like a PC old game. So it's a kind of a mashup between those two, and basically it's a challenging new evolution of platformer games in virtual reality. That's how I look at it. It's like we did a lot of research and thinking about the mechanics and about the level design in the game. We care a lot about the challenge and about the skill. As you play more, you get better in understanding how to move your spaceships in the virtuality world. It's different than other platformer games that I know of because you can move your spaceships freely, right, left, forward, backwards, up and down. So it's all like 6 degrees of freedom, both for the player and both for the spaceship. It's a third-person perspective game. We did also do a lot of work about adding the storyline where you play the spaceship of Glow. She's the pilot of the spaceships, basically, and she comes to rescue Dr. Harris after the Space Authority calls her for a mission. Once she gets to this bizarre space station out there in wild space, she finds herself stuck inside an artificial intelligence maze, kind of, which brings up, like sophisticated evil robots that come to kill them, and eventually stuff happens. And you need to rescue the world. And if you play it well, you will rescue the world and you will be a better person.
The game is currently out on App Lab, and it's got a really good rating. You got like a 4.7 rating on App Lab. Tell me about what led you to that. Do you think the free trial helps out with people getting exposure to the game? Because it's a good rating.
Yeah, we did a lot of work on getting, people to try out the game and rate it. So all the ratings are, I don't want to say all, but 100, we have 184, so about 174 of them are genuine. The rest is our team and my friends. But it's nice. We did it by, explaining the game to people and ask them to play it. And most of the ratings came from different approaches to players since the beginning, since we did the early version on SideQuest and then on App Lab. Lab, and the game really developed. It has been on App Lab for about a year now, a bit more. It really changed. Today, it looks like a demo or a prototype of the game, but when we released it, didn't seem that way. Yeah, and we're getting good feedbacks. Each feedback really helps us to develop further the game and to understand where to put more focus, for players to understand the gameplay. It's really intuitive gameplay. It is challenging because it's a new kind of play. Like, you never try this kind of gameplay. I think it's the first of a kind. My vision for it, it's a new genre of gameplay because it's a new way to move an object in 3D space using only one controller. So people really like the fact that it is a new kind of gameplay. It's an innovative approach to virtual reality. 2 years ago, that was something that I felt myself as a player or as a virtual reality, gamer. That was what I was looking for, and I was happy to get this feedback from the people who tried the game, to understand that what we're doing here is the right direction of what we meant to do.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a score to be proud of. That's a great review score. And something about the game, I think there's a couple of reasons in playing the game that I see what people fall in love with about the game. One thing was the music. You've got really good kind of techno music going on. But I saw that in addition to being a game developer, you describe yourself as a musician. Did you have anything to do with the music? Did you select it? Did you make it? Tell me about that.
Well, unfortunately, no. I do select the music. I do manage all the mixing, the live. In gaming, it's a different kind of mix because it's like a live mixing kind of, because you have the distance of objects and different objects appearing at the same time and doing different sound, different pitches, different frequencies. Myself, I'm a musician. Before I became a game developer, I was working as a musician for many years as a pianist and a keyboard player in different bands in Israel, mainly reggae bands.
Okay.
Reggae and stuff like that. So when I selected the music for the game, the music tracks for the game, I did look for this retro kind of 80s vibes, but I did try to select the most touching, tracks, the most influential, which made the kind of feelings that I want the player to feel while he's playing. If it's sad music, if it's happy music, if it's exciting, if it's scary or not scary, like tensional music or like boss fight music, stuff like that.
Yeah, the music not only went well with the game, it added a sense of urgency, I found, but the characters in it. So basically, for people who haven't played the game, haven't seen it, you are third person. The spaceship you're controlling with your controller is below you in a maze that you're looking at, but these animations pop up of your character's face talking, and it looks like cartoon animation, but has a really nice style. And I think the characters even are something that the people are falling in love with because their animations, their voice acting was all really well done. How did you decide to bring a cartoon 2D animation into a 3D game like this and find that it would still fit?
Well, first, I want to give the credit to Alex Orel, which wrote the script, drew the characters, and managed all the storyline of the game. We have the actors, and we did record professional actors from Los Angeles through Alex Orel's connection. So it was a very nice experience for me, as a game developer, to touch the Los Angeles entertainment scene. The inspiration for it was Celeste, the game Celeste. If you know it, it's like a pixel art, amazing classical game. And there you have the characters are pretty much in the same style, where you have like a cartoonish comic book kind of art, which, it's like a very low frame rate art. And the game engine that we developed, once we decided to do this storyline, so we thought about the engine, how to operate this engine in order to make it fit the game. So basically each character has like different feelings, like happy, like tension, so I think each of them has 5 of those. Each emotion has like, I think, 2 or 3 frames of drawings, and that's it. And that's how we play through the audio. We built this kind of engine that you can edit each feeling for each sentence, for each word, and it goes. So, it was a kind of an artistic choice alongside with the scope, the budget that we had for it, and with the technical possibility of creating it and finish it. So we did all this stuff together, and it wasn't easy. It sounds easy, but it wasn't easy.
Yeah, I don't think any game development is ever easy, but you've got a lot of background that really lends to your experience here. You talked about mixing the game sound. Obviously, as a developer, you code, but you even teach all of this along with VR at Shankar College in Israel. Is that correct?
Yes, I teach Unity and coding, and in the first 2 semesters, and then in the third semester, I teach music and sounds for games.
That's so cool.
It's hard. It's not easy, it's always hard to teach. I find it very challenging, and it's really rewarding. It's amazing to teach. I love it, but it's challenging because each student has a different kind of level, a different approach for how to bring his ideas to life and to bring him the best practices that he will have. When I teach, I give away everything I know. I don't have any secrets. Like whatever I can share, I share because it's like a cause.
That's cool to hear. Yeah, teaching is something that is a bit beyond me. I did some management for years before I went to YouTube, and I know that when you teach people a skill, it's not like being a teacher, but in management, you have to train people, and you have to tailor that to each person. You can't just use exactly the same. You got to figure out what are they looking for? How do I teach them the way they're going to learn it? And I applaud teachers for what they do because that is just too much for me.
Yeah, it's hard, and I I have some success and some less. So, but we look at the positive sides eventually.
Well, I've got to say, we've had guests from all over the world on this podcast, but I think you are the first ever that's been from Israel. So obviously you teach at a college there, you live there, you have your company there. What is the gaming scene like, the tech industry? What's it like in Israel?
Besides virtual reality, if we talk gaming worldwide, we have some of the strongest, or I don't know if strongest, but biggest, very successful companies in the mobile gaming world.
Okay.
Beside that, we do have like small indie scene, pretty good one, but it's very small. We don't have too many indie games which have been successful or famous. I think there's maybe 3 or 4 of them, but that's the famous ones. And in the virtual reality world, we have, I think, about 3 games like Shuttle Maze, and there's 2 more games which I can give you their names in a minute when they come to my mind. And we have simulators kind of developers for virtuality. We do have a lot of deep tech, augmented reality companies and hardware, coding kind of companies. So Israel is strong at that. The gaming scene, it's big, but it's not. I don't think it's very developed like it is in other countries, in Europe or in the US or in other places. From what I know, it's much more supported by governments. It's a common scene. It's a common practice. It's you can study it. You can have degrees in it. In Israel, it's harder. It's still like a niche. It's like geeks. The formal people in Israel still haven't understood the potential of the gaming industry, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, you are on the forefront changing that by not only teaching, but making a game that has now made it from side quest over to App Lab. And I know most developers want to make that leap from App Lab to Meta. Are you working on that? Do you have anything you're allowed to share with that journey?
We're working on it all the time, ourselves and everyone in the virtual reality scene. So it's a very hard competition. It's not easy because also we're not really, there isn't a specific rule that at least I know of making it to the official Meta store. We're working hard. We keep releasing, updates. We update the game all the time with more content. We polish the game and we add more spaceships and more weapons, and you can buy more stuff. And now we're working on the mixed reality feature, which is amazing for Shuttle Maze because, the mixed reality is where you see reality through the headset's cameras. The headset has 2 cameras on the front of it, and you get the picture from these cameras to your view as a live. So you're in the room. So it's a kind of augmented reality, but I think, in the industry we call it mixed reality. I don't know why, but That's like what caught. So on top of those cameras in your view, you can see the games or the game, right? Or the games. So
Yeah.
in Shuttle Maze, we started to work on it. It looks really cool. Actually, we were very excited. We did it the first time like a week ago, and everybody here got like really, really excited about it because it fits perfectly. You have like your small maze, in your living room. You can decide how big it is to fit exactly your living room, and then you have all the gameplay there. So it's like a tabletop kind of live puzzle arcade action game. It's like a new kind of way to play games in your living room. You know what you play the game, so you can understand what I mean, right? Like
Yeah.
it's a tabletop live action puzzle game. I don't know. So
Yeah. Mixed reality, especially now that we're getting color pass through more commonly on
yeah,
headsets,
the Pico,
is
it's
really,
amazing. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, it's really going to change things. Well, I'm excited for the future of Shuttle Maze. It's always that journey. We've talked to so many developers, and just like you said, there is no specific like, hey, you need 500 positive reviews, or hey, you need this many sales. There's no official way to get to the meta store. So you keep fighting, and eventually you finally make it. So I hope for you that you can keep on fighting the good fight.
With good people like you that give us the stage to make, to be known, because there's really a lot of games, and I urge if everybody to go inside virtual reality once, twice, 10 times, 20 times, and try a bunch of games.
Yeah.
It's an amazing scene. It keeps getting better all the time. There's a lot of genres, a lot of content. For people who are already in virtual reality, I really encourage you to try Shuttle Maze. One, because it's our game, but two, also because it's really special. It's really innovative. It's a new way to play in virtual reality. I really hope people like it, and it will bring more people inside this amazing, cool, enjoyable technology, right? Because I think that the future is really exciting with virtual reality and augmented reality and all this mixed reality stuff. I think the world will become better.
Yes, that's what we're looking for. And if you're out there listening, you have nothing to lose right now. The game's on App Lab, but there is a free trial that you can check out. So you can do a little try before you buy, see what you think. And then if you do like the game, of course, we're going to leave links in the description, the show notes everywhere, so you can get there. Dan, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Is there anything else coming up for Shuttle Maze or Ayayu Games you wanted to make sure we mentioned today?
Like I said, there's the mixed reality coming soon. Right now we have added more content, and there's a big major update with content coming soon with I think 4 full levels. A new boss is coming, like a huge one, which I think was missing. There's the evil eyes that will attack you through the maze. There's new puzzles, all kinds of them. So it's an exciting time for us as developers, and for this game. There's a lot of ideas, a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of tears, and a lot of laughs. So we encourage you to try it out, and we really hope you like it and share it.
Yes, that's what I still love about the VR scene as it is right now. Everyone here is here because they love it, and they're going to put in the work to make something out of it. No one's here because the money's not here yet. But it's getting better.
We hope so.
Yeah.
What we need, we will need the money, as soon as possible for us to keep developing, to make this amazing stuff. So it's like each game that you buy will bring a better game after that. So it's like we're there. That's the step of virtual reality. It's still not at the free-to-play scene, I think. Everything comes to a good cause, I think, in this space right now. So it's very exciting. Also, I encourage people to come and develop for virtual reality, and to learn about it and to try stuff. It's not that difficult to get inside it. There's a lot of opportunities there. So exciting times, where it's like when they invented the cinema. It took a couple of years, decades to make full feature films, and then they added sound. So wow. So I think it's a very exciting times in this manner where we have the opportunity to invent genres, to invent content, to make dreams come true, something, like that.
Yes, and people forget, just like you said, we are still at the infancy. This is still a new tech. It's still early. We're not going to be at the point that, the PlayStation's at after the multiple generations it's had. We're learning. But hey, maybe if you're out there and you've been thinking, oh, VR just doesn't have the game I want yet, maybe that's a cool call out to go learn and make the game. Make a game yourself too. Become a developer, because we need more
Now
good
is the
games.
opportunity, in 10 years or 15 years, or, which is a very long time today, when today people talk about 1 year, 2 years, like 3 years, like, wow, but, years goes by really fast. It's like today starting to develop for mobile kind of thing, I think. That's what I think. So, and now today it's very hard to develop for mobile because the competition is really very, very dense.
Yeah, absolutely true. Well, Dan, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. I want to say thank you again for coming on today.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you for inviting us, and hope to be here soon again with our next game.
Definitely. Well, if you're out there listening, like I said, there's a free trial, so you've got nothing to lose if you want to check this out. But as you've heard here today, a lot more is coming for the game too, so keep that in mind. This game will continue to evolve in the future, and there will be links in the description, the show notes to get to that game. Check it out. And if you've been thinking about VR for a while, hey, maybe it's not only time to start gaming in VR, maybe it's time to start developing too. So take your time and dive on in.